Movements in plants. Unlike animals, plants do not move from one place to another. However, plants show growth movements in response to some stimuli, like sunlight, water, soil, etc. Tropism is the tendency of plant parts to grow towards or away from the direction of stimuli. The different types of tropism. 1. Phototropism. 2. Geotropism. 3. Hydrotropism. Phototropism is the tendency of the plant parts to grow either towards or away from the direction of sunlight. Since stem grows towards the sunlight, it is positively phototropic. Root grows away from the sunlight. Hence, it is negatively phototropic. The position of a flower so that they can be seen and pollinated by insects and birds is another example of phototropism. Did you know? Some other types of tropisms are chemotropism, growth in response to chemicals; sonotropism, growth in response to sound; thermotropism, growth in response to temperature; electrotropism, growth in response to electric field; thigmotropism, growth of a part of a plant in response to localized physical contact. The tendency of a part of plant to grow towards the soil or gravity is called geotropism. The root of a plant is positively geotropic and the stem negatively geotropic. The tendency of the plant part to grow towards the direction of water is known as hydrotropism. While roots are positively hydrotropic, stems are negatively hydrotropic. The response to a stimulus, independent of its direction, is called nastic movement. These movements are caused in response to touch, light, temperature, and other external factors. The plant mimosa, touch me not, plant is sensitive to touch. On touching, its leaves fold. The folding in mimosa is an irregular movement and is called nastic movement. The closing of a Venus flytrap in response to the walk of an insect is another example of nastic movement. Tropism is the tendency of the plant parts to grow towards or away from the direction of stimuli. Phototropism is the tendency of the plant parts to grow either towards or away from the direction of sunlight. The tendency of a part of plant to grow towards the soil or gravity is called geotropism. The tendency of the plant part to grow towards the direction of water is known as hydrotropism. The folding of the mimosa leaves on being touched is an example of nastic movement.
Okay, please stand up for our prayer. Start with the prayer.
Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, teacher.
How are you today?
We are fine, thank you.
Wow, that's great.
like sunlight, water, soil, etc. Tropism is the tendency of plant parts to grow towards or away from the direction of stimuli. The different types of tropism. 1. Phototropism. 2. Geotropism. 3. Hydrotropism. Phototropism is the tendency of the plant parts to grow either towards or away from the direction of sunlight. Since stem grows towards the sunlight, it is positively phototropic. Root grows away from the sunlight. Hence, it is negatively phototropic. The position of a flower so that they can be seen and pollinated by insects and birds is another example of phototropism. Did you know some other types of tropisms are chemotropism, growth in response to chemicals; sonotropism, growth in response to sound; chronotropism, growth in response to temperature; electrotropism, growth in response to electric field; pigmotropism, growth of a part of a plant in response to localized physical contact. The tendency of a part of plant to grow towards the soil or gravity is called geotropism. The root of the plant is positively geotropic and the stem negatively geotropic. The tendency of the plant part to grow towards the direction of water is known as hydrotropism. While roots are positively hydrotropic, stems are negatively hydrotropic. The response to a stimulus, independent of its direction, is called nastic movement. These movements are caused in response to touch, light, temperature, and other external factors. The plant mimosa, touch me not, plant is sensitive to touch. On touching, its leaves fold. The folding mimosa is an irregular movement and is called nastic movement. The closing of a Venus flytrap in response to the walk of an insect is another example of nastic movement. Tropism is the tendency of the plant parts to grow towards or away from the direction of stimuli. Phototropism is the tendency of the plant parts to grow either towards or away from the direction of sunlight. The tendency of a part of plant to grow towards the soil or gravity is called geotropism. The tendency of the plant part to grow towards the direction of water is known as hydrotropism. The folding of the mimosa leaves on being touched is an example of nastic movement.
Okay. Are you done, class?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, put your apple there in front, then select one representative to read the questions and answer. Taylor. Okay, group 1. Please read your answer.
Group 1. What is a movement in plants? Movements in plants are movements toward tight opening and closing of flowers. Group 2. What are the types of movements in plants? Tropic movements and nastic movements. plants grow towards or away from that direction stimuli. Number 5. What are the different types of tropism? The different types of tropisms are phototropisms, eotropism, and hydrotropism.
Okay, give a hand to the group 1. Go.
For group 2, what is phototropism? Phototropism is growing towards the sunlight. What is eutropism? Eutropism is a part of growth towards the sun. What is hydrotropism? Hydrotropism is a part of growth towards the directions of water. What are the other different tropisms? Other different types of tropism. Other different types of tropism are chemotropism, pseudotropism, thermotropism, electrotropism, and phagotropism. What is chemotropism? Other characteristic. Chemotropism is growth in response of chemicals.
Okay, give a hand to the group 2. What about the group 3?
So what is sonotropism? Sonotropism is growth in response to sound. So what is thermotropism? Thermotropism is growth in response to temperature. What is electrotropism? Electrotropism is growth in response to electric. What is stigmatotropism? Stigmatotropism is growth of a part in response to the localized physical content. So what is nastic movement? Nastic movement are non-directional response to stimuli.
Okay, very good. Let's give a hand to the group 2. Now class, based on the activity, can you tell me what our topic for this morning? Okay, start.
Based on the activity, I think our topic is all about movements of plants.
Very good. Our topic for this morning is all about movements and plants. Now, based on the video I presented to you earlier, what is movements in plants? The students.
Movements in plants are movements towards light, opening, and
This